Welcome back to the Thinking Clearly channel. Today we had some great news. President Trump announced that there'd been an agreement for the hostage exchange today in the first phase of the negotiations. So there's been a deal that I'm not getting straight answers on a couple of things, but they are supposedly going to release all the living hostages. And I'm just not sure if this is going to happen as early as Saturday, as has been reported in Israel, or as late as Monday, which has come out of the White House originally. I'm not sure that it's fully settled yet. Hamas and Israel have struck a deal for Hamas to release all the remaining living hostages, and for Israel to withdraw its forces up to an agreed-upon line. Two regional sources told CBS that there is an agreement on all sides in principle on a hostage release, but a few procedural issues remain. Once those details are handled, it'll be 48 hours before any release starts. A senior White House official, this is what I said, hostages be released Monday. Anyway, it's going to go to Israel's cabinet for approval on Thursday, and it looks like Hamas and the Arabs have agreed to it. So this is great news. So obviously it's only the first phase, and let's see if they can actually stop the fighting now. But this is phenomenal. I hope to God that those hostages, come home safe, and that poor guy David that we all saw in that picture of him digging his own grave is still healthy enough to come home. All right, moving on. Yesterday, Pam Bondi had that terrible showing in her hearing in Congress in front of the Senate. She was very defiant. Here's how the Washington Post put it. A defiant Attorney General Pam Bondi eagerly clashed with Democrats in a Senate oversight hearing Tuesday as she defended her record against accusations she was weaponizing the Justice Department to shield President Trump's allies and target his foes. She repeatedly dodged questions on pressing issues, such as the department's decision to prosecute former FBI Director James Comey, its review of its case files on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and now a shuttered FBI bribery investigation into Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. She was very testy. She was very disrespectful. And I watched Lawrence last night on MSNBC, and he said in all his years he had never seen anybody speak to the senators as she spoke to them yesterday, that it was just completely disrespectful, and nobody in history has ever behaved like that before. I'm sorry I didn't share the tab, but this was the story that I just read you from. All right, moving on. There's been some news about, there's been an unearthing of ICE documents that highlight Trump's administration's social media surveillance plans. This hasn't happened yet, but they are trying to take a look at social media 24/7. Wired magazine was the first to report on publicly available contracting records showing that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is seeking contractors to potentially run an around-the-clock social media surveillance program out of two offices located in Vermont and California. Federal contracting records reviewed by Wired show that the agency is seeking private vendors to run a multi-year surveillance program out of its two little-known targeting centers. The program envisions stationing nearly 30 private analysts at immigration and customs enforcement facilities in Vermont and Southern California. Their job, scour Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and other platforms, converting posts and profiles into fresh leads for enforcement raids. Sounds like fascist government to me. That's not good, and I don't like it. Yesterday, Stephen Miller was on CNN and got tripped up, and Stephen Miller cited plenary. Steve Miller cited plenary authority, then paused. Conspiracy started flying. Once skeptics wondered if Mr. Miller had caught himself saying something he did not mean to. CNN said there was a technical glitch because immediately they went to, he went quiet and they went to commercial. At issue, it seems the phrase was uttered by Mr. Miller immediately before he abruptly stopped speaking, responding to Mr. Sanchez's question about the legality of deploying National Guard soldiers to Portland, Oregon. Mr. Miller cited a federal law under which he said the president has plenary authority. Plenary authority is the legal term that effectively means limitless power, which we know that they've been trying to get and are still continuing to try to get. The Trump administration has invoked the term at least once before in a legal argument as to why the president should be allowed to rapidly deport Venezuelan migrants under the Alien Enemies Act. A federal appeals court ruled against the administration in that case last month. Mr. Miller did not use the term again once CNN interview resumed after the commercial. Mr. Sanchez repeated the question, but it was never mentioned again. So I think that we have just another lens into what they're thinking coming down the road, that they really want to take full control of this country and just do it as they want without interference. And lastly today, on Monday, the Supreme Court returned. And I've read a number of articles today that talked about what's going to happen. The Supreme Court returns to face Trump's test of presidential power. The president's policies will have an even more central role in the term that began on Monday after the justices agreed to take 3 cases with broad consequences for his agenda. In November, they will hear arguments about the legality of Mr. Trump's sweeping tariffs, a centerpiece of his trade strategy. In December, they will consider Mr. Trump's efforts to wrest control of independent agencies, and in January, his attempt to fire a member of the Federal Reserve Board. By the time the term ends in June, and remember, a lot of these decisions don't come out until June, even if they're heard early, there could be others. Already, the administration has asked the court to take up a pair of cases testing the legality of the president's executive order ending birthright citizenship, an issue that raises fundamental questions about what it means to be an American. It's hard to imagine a bigger test of presidential power than these potentially once-in-a-century separation of power battles. And we're seeing more than one of them at once. Until now, the justices have not squarely addressed the legality of Mr. Trump's boundary-pushing policies to transform the government. That will change this term as the justices confront Mr. Trump's policies head-on, offering final judgments on whether they are legal in cases that include oral arguments and decisions with lengthy opinions. Another article I read today also mentioned that if they do broaden his powers, it could effectively eliminate Amendment 22, which is the limiting of his terms to two consecutive terms, or two terms period. So we have a lot to look forward to. There's a lot going on. Most of it's not good in terms of freedom in this country. And I don't like what I'm hearing from that. I don't like what I'm hearing from Bondi in New York and on the far left either. I think we're in really perilous times. And we'll discuss more as time goes on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you.